I'm sitting along first base at the softball field in Ogdensburg. Thank you, Blue Devils, for hosting Story of the Day. My daughter's about to play a game right now, and it's perfect timing because today's show is all about softball and baseball in the North Country. To start, let's travel across St. Lawrence County to Potsdam, where our reporter Lucy Grindon stopped by a baseball practice for 3rd and 4th graders and met this girl.
All the way through with your swing, okay? All the way through. There you go.
My name is Kinsley Covey, and I'm 9 years old. This is my first season.
Do you play any other sports?
I do dance, and I don't actually play football, but I do play, I try to play football with my cousins in the backyard because girls can't play actual football.
Is it girls and boys on the baseball teams?
Yes, boys and girls. There's 2 or 3 girls, but today there's only 2.
Do a couple more, okay?
That's my finger.
Yeah, that's your finger.
It's really fun, and you get to meet a lot of new people, and you get to learn new things. When you get hit with a ball, you get to learn how to be tough and don't let it get to you, and just keep swinging and keep pitching.
One more good one, okay?
When it hits you, it hurts for a second and it stings, but you just have to go through the pain and just pretend like it never happened.
Okay, the elbow up a little bit. There you go. Oh, go ahead.
I think I'm improving, but I still have work to do.
So, same time on Wednesday. Okay, Teddy, you want to give us a good 1, 2, 3? All right, bring it in, guys. Let's do my thing. 1, 2, 3, Potsdam!
Kingsley Covey and her team in Potsdam. The sport is such a part of the fabric of a North Country spring and summer. An exhibit in Glens Falls celebrates just that, and that's today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, dedicated to providing patient care and regional services to the people of St. Lawrence County. claxtonhepburn.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Thursday, May 9th. Let's go right to the Chapman Museum in Glens Falls, where an exhibit celebrates the history of baseball in the city. Monica Sandreski takes us there.
It's called Hometown Teams, and we have 2 guides today.
My name is Maureen Folk, and I'm the curator of collections here at the Chapman Museum.
My name is Andrew Kramer. I'm the pitching coach at SUNY Plattsburgh, and I am the head coach of the Clinton County Junior Mariners.
When Kramer's not coaching, he's a lefty pitcher for the North Country Thunderbirds in Plattsburgh. His team isn't featured in this exhibit. Hometown Teams looks just at Glens Falls. But I asked him to join us because he knows baseball and has a window to its early days in the area. His grandfather played, too, as a catcher in the Albany Twilight League in the 1940s and 50s. At the Chapman Museum, Kramer and curator Maureen Folk point out a really old picture of school kids in the heat of a neighborhood game. In the grass, boys hug their knees and eye the pitcher. The catcher squats, glove in motion, and the hitter stands ready to swing.
We've got these cyanotypes, which are blue. These are from the late 1800s. So these are the earliest baseball photos we have in our collection. They're from about 1890 to 1900. Wow. I love these photos because you've got these little young men with their button-down shirts and their trousers and their fancier hats, but they're out there playing baseball, and they're having a good time. So those are some of my favorite photos.
A lot of times I look at these photos and I see really tough kids that went through a tough upbringing and are having a little bit of fun. Now we have fields designated for playing sports and, a lot of organization in leagues and teams and things like that. But, in the cities, especially back during this time and when communities were physically much more close together, you'd get the local neighborhood kids together and, go out and play. My grandfather used to play around a little later than 1890 to 1900 in the 20s and 30s. And, he would tell me stories about how every street down in Albany where he grew up had a team and they would play each other just because there were so many kids around. And he had 10 brothers and sisters, and whenever they broke a finger or a bone, they couldn't afford health care, so they would just wrap it up, tape it together and keep playing.
The exhibit also highlights some of the big names from Glens Falls. Royal Van Vranken was the first black manager of a Little League team in town and led his team to win the Little League World Series in 1955. An off-white pennant for the short-lived Glens Falls White Sox is tacked on the wall. They were a Double-A farm team for the Chicago White Sox in the 1980s, plus a poster of local kid Dave LaPointe, who played ball at Glens Falls High School, then pitched in the majors for the St. Louis Cardinals during their World Series win in 1982.
Shooter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's the winner! That's the winner! A World Series winner for the Cardinals!
There's nothing else that gives me that little bit of excitement than hitting a ball really well, getting a good piece, or throwing a pitch how you intended and striking out a batter. It's just that little jolt of electricity, I think, that keeps me playing and keeps me involved with the game.
My really primary hope with this exhibit is just to, get one more person even to go to a local sports game. It's exciting to support those big major league teams, but your community values that support. So that's my big hope.
Today, folks throughout the North Country play ball all summer long in community softball leagues, high school teams, and Little League. Kramer fundraises and coaches kids in a low-cost program in Clinton County so any kid can play. At the collegiate level, there's the Glens Falls Dragons, the Watertown Rapids, and the Boonville Lumberjacks, plus professional teams. The Independent Empire Baseball League trains players to try out for the majors on teams in Tupper Lake, Saranac Lake, Plattsburgh, and Malone. Kramer and Folk say rooting for these hometown teams matters. At the exhibit, they pivot to a glass display case. In it is a thin brown scorebook from 1885, a pair of dusty cleats, and a faded collegiate team uniform.
So we've got some wool baseball pants. They're probably all happy that they're not wool uniforms anymore. But these would have been from a local team, the Glens Falls Independents, and we have a jersey from that team up on the wall, but they would have played a little more seriously than the YMCA league, and so you get this variety here. But we've got some early catcher pads, too, which I find interesting. They're probably not very protective compared to today's equipment.
So where'd you find the uniforms and the cleats and the physical artifacts?
So all of these images, like I said, are from the collection, and then some of these items in the case are more representative of adults playing baseball in the area for various rec teams. And so we have some trophies here from the local YMCA league. These get donated to the museum over time. So you can see we have our Glens Falls Independence wool pants. These were donated by Roy McDougal in memory of Ralph Lefty Story. So that must have been his baseball name.
Are these like the shoes that your grandfather might have worn?
Probably, yes. 30s to 1950. I mean, you can see the spikes used to just be kind of nailed on to the bottom of the shoe, as opposed to now where it's a different shoe entirely. It's made with the spikes in them. But growing up, he always told me stories about Bleecker Stadium down in Albany. And so a couple of years ago, through a friend, he asked if I wanted to play a few games down in Albany, and to be the third generation of my family to play at Bleecker Stadium was something special. I think that's a part of the sport that gets passed on from generation to generation that doesn't really change, is the friendships you develop and the bonds with people. And these teams and folks were from the same town, and you develop better community connections, and it really brings people together.
Right on. Oh, no. Come on.
That's the Plattsburgh Thunderbirds championship win against the New Hampshire Wild back in 2019. The hometown team's exhibit at the Chapman Museum runs through this Sunday.
Oh man, I just love this celebration of baseball and softball in the North Country. Go catch a game somewhere this summer. That was Monica Sandreski reporting. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.